Welcome to another RPG Architect tutorial. This is Locke, and I'm going to go ahead and take you through one of the newer features, which is array operations. I have my dummy project set up here. You can see we just recently added 3D rendering stuff in, so that's pretty cool for our map editor now. But that's not the point of this. We're actually going to do array operations, so let's get started. So immediately, you'll notice now that we have, under data manipulation, a new operation called, or a new command called array operations. That's what's going to let us work with arrays, right? So before I do that, let's go ahead and have a quick little tutorial on what arrays actually are, so you can understand what they are and kind of how to use them. So, Editor Bert will splice this in. High five, Editor Bert. Glad to be working with you again. So, off the bat, this is going to be kind of an example of what arrays are. You'll notice my poorly drawn paint thing. And for people who already know arrays, you can probably skip this section and just get back to the RPG Architect piece. From here, the idea of an array is that you have contiguous memory that's going to store multiple things in it. So you can use one variable, and it can store multiple things in it at an index or an indice. So indices always start at 0. So in this case, their length of this array is 6. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you remember anything about RPG Architect, everything starts at 0. So it's just the same. So from here, let's say I want to go ahead and store something in these. I can store strings, I can store numbers, I can store whatever I like. You could even theoretically store another array inside of it. I wouldn't recommend that though. So let's go ahead and say I've got this array. It starts off empty when I create it with 6, and I want to go ahead and store something. And so let's say in slot 2, maybe for example we could say I want to store all my characters in it, right? So I could go ahead and say in index 0. I want to set the hero's name, my lead hero. Let's name his name Hero. Oop. And those of you who are Gundam Wing fans, you're absolutely welcome for this reference. And those of you who aren't, well, it's okay. There'll be hope for you one day. We can say my second person in index 1, right? So because this is the first, this would be the second. This one is going to be Jason. And this one is Bert. Bert is in index 2, or the third element. And I'm not going to bother to fill up the rest of these. So what this looks like essentially is that I would say, hey, I want an array of length 6, I set it, and in index 0, I want hero, and in index 1, I'll set the value to Jason. In index 2, I'll set the value of Beethoven in there. 3, 4, and 5, I'm not worried about right now, so I don't care. Now later, say I want to go ahead and figure out what's going on in this array, right? Say, I wonder who was in index 0, that first spot. I can go ahead and operate that and say, oh look, it's hero. And I can say, okay, what about index 2? So the third element, because maybe I'm only doing odd numbers for whatever reason. Oh, that's Beethoven. Cool. So that's essentially the idea. If you desire, you can also expand it. So if we were to go ahead and make this larger, which is also possible in RPGA, we can add one more. And all you're doing is specifying the length to be 7 now. Equals 7, and this slot right here is index number 6. So the index, the maximum index on any of these is always going to be a length minus 1, because it starts at 0, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you count, the number of slots is actually 7, which starts at 0, right? So we can do all of this in RPG Architect. And the idea is that you may want to keep party members information in here. You may want to do a number of other things. One of the things I'm personally planning on adding are a number of the data sources that we have and having them being able to get pieces back in arrays, right? So for me, I think this would be really nice if you could get the unique ID of all your heroes for your party and just to an array. So then you could just keep going through it like that. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe it has something to do with having the battle manager for the rewards for data sources to be able to stack your items so they're actually sorted and grouped, which will also be nice, right? So then you could iterate through that and be like, oh, okay, in slot 0 is maybe potion, and slot 1 is the Sword of Truth, and slot 2, it's index 2, so 0, 1, and then index 2, it could be the Shield of Destiny, and the length of that array that you would get back would be 3. So you might get one with the name of the item, maybe the unique ID, and then another array. So those are 2 different arrays. They would just correspond. So index 0 would, which was potion, and that might be for the name. And then the next array that you would could get from it might be the unique ID, and that would return the unique ID of that potion, right? And then one more array and one more data source might be the quantity. So you could be like, okay, I got potions and I got 3 of them in this other array, and they're all of length 3. And then, okay, I got the Sword of, I think I said Sword of Truth, right? And you got only one of those, the quantity, but you can also get the unique ID of what it is. And then maybe the the Shield of Destiny, I think was slot 2, index 2, or the 3rd element in here. And that, maybe you got 2 of those, right? So you would be able to composite that together and build something that's a little bit easier. So that's kind of where this is going. And I think that with how it's built, there may be a way that you guys can utilize this for other things, right? The goal of RPG Architect is to give you that, I don't want to say control, but a lot of freedom to control the engine. When I mean that, I mean the flexibility to make it do some non-conventional things that other makers don't. In any case, I hope this is helpful right here for this. Let's get back to RPG Architect. Handshake off to Bert. And we're back. Did we all hopefully learn about how arrays work? Let's go ahead and show how that would work with an actual variable now, yeah? So I'm going to go ahead and do an array operation. I'm going to do that, again, like everything else, we go ahead and specify where we want. In this case, we're going to go ahead and use a global variable. We can do one, global variable 0. I like that, that works fine. And the first thing I want to do is I want to set the count. Remember the count before, that's the size. We're going to go ahead and set that to 3. So immediately off the bat, what this is doing is that's going to make it so that we have 3 elements inside, so index is 0, 1, and 2. That's in global variable 0. We're going to go ahead and do another array operation now. And we are going to set the index, index is 0. I'm going to set that to, let's go with hero, like I did in my original example. Copy this, paste again, because all good programmers just copy and paste everything. And in index 1, we are going to do JSON. And index 2, so the 3rd element is going to be Bert. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick message. And I'm going to show what that actually looks like, and it's going to look probably like garbage to most people. And if you actually know what JSON format is, then you will know exactly what it is. So we're going to go ahead and just throw a little weight in here too, because this will spam and go crazy on the machine. Apply and OK. And if I coded this correctly, let's also set my party starting position, we should be good. So let's go and see what happens. And in true RPG Architect fashion, I found a bug while I found like 3 bugs while I was doing this, because clearly I don't eat my own dog food that I write. So I decided to go in and fix a couple things. So good thing this wasn't all one take. So immediately I'm going to show you this, that I have this initial message showing the global variable. We actually don't need this one, ignore that. So I updated this script so that I set the count to 3. I show what's in that immediately after, right? So you'll see it in an array format, serialized like I said. And then you'll notice here This actually wasn't saving a value at all, so there was a problem there. I have fixed it though, so we are good to go. Everything otherwise has stayed the same, so I'm still setting, right, by an index, so I'm setting index 0, right, index 0 to the value hero, and index 1 is to Jason, and index 2 is to Berthoven, right? So let's go ahead and see what that actually looks like when we run it. It's not like I did this several times. There we go. Immediately see there's the JSON of the array. It's basically it's empty, and then after it sets those values, you'll see it's hero, Jason, and Berthoven, right? So that's all we got there. Now let's go ahead and do a little bit more. So we're going to append to this. Let's get rid of this. We don't need this. That's crazy. That's silly. Let's go ahead now and do an array operation, and I want to go ahead and in a global variable, yeah, 505, why not? I want to get index 0, excuse me, this should be my array. My array is still in 0, right? But I'm going to get it from index 0, and I want to store it. This should not be enabled. I need to fix that. We'll fix that in post. Now I want to go ahead and get that and store that in variable 1. Okay, so now variable 1, the expectation is that it's going to show what's in slot 0, right? If you guys remember what that was hero, right? So now if I do this, I'm going to hit plot, go okay. And I'm going to pause real quick before I do this, because who knows, maybe this is broken again. And we're back. Let's see if this works. Alright, so I'm going to bring this window over. You see our array, 3 elements in it. Well, not in it, but size 3. Now I see that there are 3 elements in it, hero, Jason, and Berthoven. And remember, I said I want to get index 0 out of this into global variable 1. There it is, hero. So that worked. So I didn't need to cut, but that's okay. We like cutting. Let's go ahead and do a couple more things, just for giggles. So I'm going to go ahead and now choose to say, hey, I don't know how big the count is. Can you save that for me? So I want to save that in variable 1. And I'm going to say that again. This actually says it better. Let's make this message count, say 0. Or, well, it's going to say global variable 1. Let's also make this a little bit more obvious. 0. And then this top one will say PV0 as array of 3, but count of 3. Say populated. So now we have somewhat of an idea. So this should tell us what the count is inside our array. And I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm also going to change the size of this array, because I'm a crazy madman, to 4 now. And then I'm going to go ahead and show what that looks like after I do that operation as well. Just to give you kind of a piece of the puzzle. Okay? Populate array after size to count 4. Count 4. Personally, I like count Dracula, but we'll just have to go with count 4 this time. Alright, let's go ahead and see what this looks like. So, there's our initial array, 3 elements in it. That looks good. Hero, Jason, Berthoven. I just realized I don't have a way to see what that is, but this would be the populated one. Now we're going to get that first index at index 0. Hero, that's what we would expect. I believe the next one that we're doing is we're going to go ahead and find the size, the length of it, the count, right? So we expect 3. Perfect. That's 3. Now, final test, we're going to resize it to 4 and see what it looks like. Hero, Jason, Berthoven. Oh my gosh, the blank spot. So now it's got 0, 1, 2, and index 3. So 4 elements in it. And that's resized. So let's go ahead and play with this a little bit more. Now, let's go ahead and say we want to set, is this a set? That's a good index. Set index, there we go. Now, we're going to go ahead and do a little more. Okay. Now we're going to set index 3 to Locke. I was going to do more. I think that works. Do that. Paste one more time. And then we're going to be madmen and or women, right? I don't discriminate. And we're going to resize it. There's this operation right here. We're going to resize it to 2. And then we're going to go ahead and display what that looks like. So what you're going to see is after we resize, we're going to see that empty space. We're setting index 3, right? So the 4th element in it to Locke. So now we should see hero, we should see Jason, we should see Beethoven, and then we should see Locke at the end, right? That's what this guy does here. Then we're saying, hey, I only want 2. So then what we would expect, you can imagine, would just be the initial 2. So hero and Jason. Let's see if I coded this right, or if I just ended up destroying this entire tape. Drag my window over. Okay, initial. We already know all these. We're happy with these. Length is 3. We resized it. Oh, look. I popped in there at the end. Last one, I believe, is the resize, so it's going to resize and you should only see these first 2. Oh, and that's a bug that I will have to fix right after I finish this video. But that's cool. I'm good with this for now. All right. This should say Jason. That's my bad. It's slightly off with how I did it, but that's not a problem. Super easy for me to fix. And that's going to be fixed. But again, you would expect to see Jason here, not Locke. I hope this was helpful, right? We're just kind of building off pieces of RPG Architect we already know. And just this hopefully will help be more useful in the future for, again, data sources primarily, right? So you can hit maybe grouped items or be able to get all of the heroes that are in your party, or maybe, and dare I say, maybe all of your inventory slots or something. That might be a little crazy. These variables can get very, very, very crazy large, so you have to be careful. I hope that was helpful, and look forward to maybe eventually doing the next one. We are actually, just kind of as a side note, we are completely reworking our documentation right now. So you may not see this updated in the wiki because we have a new wiki, which hopefully we may make go live maybe in about a month or so, maybe a couple months, and it will be vastly superior to what we have now, and hopefully will help everyone quite significantly. That's all for now. Thanks. It's been a while since I've done this, so it's a pleasure to get back into a couple of them. Take care. Enjoy architecting.
Master